Are you a brand new shooter and you really don't know where to start? If so, this video is going to be for you. What's up, guys? My name is Rob Epifania. I'm a USPSA Grandmaster and I'm the owner of Systematic Performance Concepts. In this video, we're going to go back to the simplicity of learning how to load and unload a firearm, how to be able to check. After this video is over, you should have a good understanding of what needs to be done in order to get a gun loaded, know it's loaded, unload it, know it's unloaded. Really simple techniques that are going to be able to help you guys. So, first, let's talk about real quick this pistol magazines, loading pistol magazines. Guys, just so you know, if you are ever doing this outside of an environment where, if you're ever practicing this outside of an environment that's at an actual range, we want to invest in dummy rounds. So dummy rounds have the casing, they have a bullet, they do not have any primer. And the key distinction here is that you do not see anything in here. This is an empty pocket. Okay, you can order those online from Amazon. I know ST Action Rounds makes something along the lines of that. I personally make my own dummy rounds by not putting any primer, not putting any powder in there. So there's never a worry that I'm going to have an issue. Also, if you're practicing this in an area that is not at a range where we have a safe backstop, we want to make sure we have no live ammunition anywhere near us. Okay, this is how accidents happen. So dummy rounds, no live ammunition around us. When it comes to something as simple as loading the magazine typically has on the back, it has witness holes for the round count. Okay, there's going to be a back section. These are called the feed lips here, and there's going to be a front section that is lower typically. The bullet end, which in this case is the white end, it's the round end or the flat end, if depending on what kind of bullet it is. It's not the yellow or the silver. That is the casing. That end is going to face forward. When we load these, there's two ways to do this. I'm weird. I push down with my finger, and I push down with my finger at the front, and I push in like that. When you push it down, you have to also push all the way back to make sure it seats. Otherwise, it will just pop out. Okay. So a lot of people use their thumb, so they'll push down with their thumb on the back here, and they'll push down with their thumb in the front, push all the way until it gets underneath these little lips here, and slide it all the way back. Simple as that in terms of loading a magazine. They do make things to make loading easier. If you plan to shoot any sort of volume, I would highly suggest you get one of those. So that makes it a lot easier. I would highly recommend it, especially if you're someone who's a little bit weaker in terms of hand strength. You're gonna thank yourself for buying one. Now let's get on to the actual loading procedure. When we have a gun, we have a couple things we need to do to get this gun loaded. We have the magazine, which contains the fuel, the ammunition. Okay. We have the magwell of the firearm, which is up under here. Okay. Typically, a rifle will have it separate from where the grip is. The handgun typically has it as the grip. So this is the magwell here. We have the magazine, and we want to insert the magazine. Now we want to insert it firmly because the most common reason for people to have a malfunction is they baby this magazine, and some guns do it, some guns don't. This gun does not really do it well. But you baby the magazine and you end up with something like this. The magazine is not fully sitting in. Glocks are especially known for this, just because of the plastic and the plastic. Sometimes they could fit a bit tight like that. So we want to make sure we firmly in-seat the magazine into the gun. And if you want to, as you get familiar with this, you won't need to do this, but if you want to, you could give a tug on it to make sure it's fully inserted. Now, we have the fuel in the gun, but we don't have the fuel in the chamber. We don't have a round in the chamber. We have to physically load one in there. There's a couple of ways to do this. In any of these cases, you have to pull the slide back and release it. Okay. Let's go through several methods in which we could do this. If your slide is closed like this, there's typically two methods that I really talk about. If you have, well, three, if you have an optic. So method number one is the most positive one. It's the one that's going to be able to work with the most amount of people. That is simply going over the top, grabbing with 4 fingers, pulling and releasing. Okay. That is going to be the most positive for most people. Okay. If I were teaching someone new, this is what I would show them first. Now, we have just loaded this gun here. We put 1 round in the chamber. How do we know it's loaded? The way we would want to do that is we would want to do what's called a press check. And simply speaking, I can either pull back slightly here. Up top, I can use the optic. I can use 4 fingers. I can pinch at the front and pull back a little bit. The key is that I am able to see that there's a round in the chamber. If it were dark and I had to do this in the dark, I could pull back a little bit and touch the round there to know that it was in there. Either one will work. I personally, at this point, if I can see it, I'm going to see it. If I can't, I'm going to just touch the round that's there. Okay. I know this gun is loaded. Now, I want to unload the gun. What do I have to do? When it comes to unloading firearm, the first thing we want to do is we want to remove the fuel. Common thing that might happen is people might rack the slide and then they remove the magazine and then they don't realize that the gun is still loaded. So let's teach you guys correctly here. Magazine release is right here. Most handguns have this. Rifles might have it in a different location, but they all have a magazine release. You can consult your owner's manual if for some reason you don't know where it is. Most pistols right in this location for a right-handed shooter. So I'm going to press this firmly. The magazine is going to fall out. Once I've removed the fuel, now I have to take the round out of the chamber. So I'm going to rack it back, watch it eject, and I'm going to take a look in there to make sure there's no yellow piece of brass in there. Okay. When that's done, I could do this a couple times. I personally like to do this 2 or 3 times. I can look in there. There's nothing in there. I like to look or stick a finger in the mag well just to make sure there's no flush magazine that I can't see. If I can get a finger in there, I can pretty much assume that it is empty there. Last part, if you choose. Now I know this is unloaded at this point. I would encourage you guys to understand how to do this. So we have a slide release here, slide lock here, whatever you want to call it. What we want to do is we want to put our thumb in that location and push up. So I'm pushing up on it. And when we do this and we pull the slide back, there's a notch here, right? There's a notch there that I want this slide lock to sit in, the slide release to sit in. When we lock the slide back, now this is fully locked back. I can look in here without having to hold it open. I could stick a finger in there if I wanted to make sure that there was no piece of brass in there for dark or whatever have you. And at this point, we know the gun is unloaded. Okay, so let's talk about 2 other ways that we might load the gun. 2 other ways. One is starting from this position. So we have the slide lock back here. If this were locked back like this, you don't necessarily have to pull and release. You can just press down on the slide release. So all I do is I insert the magazine, and with my firing hand thumb or my support hand thumb, this gun is a little big for my firing hand thumb to reach it comfortably. So I would just press my support hand thumb. So insert the mag, come up, press the button down, and now we have loaded the gun. How do we know? We can open up here and we can see that there's a piece of brass in there and I could feel it. Okay. That typically is going to be the quickest way when you have to do a reload in an emergency. It also requires the least amount of physical effort. Now, again, we want to unload the gun. So what do I do first? That's right. Press the magazine release. Magazine comes out. I'm going to rack the round out of the chamber. Okay, I might do this 2 or 3 times. I don't have to, but I should, just because. I look in the chamber and there's nothing in there. I stick a finger into the mag well so that I can feel that there's nothing there. And then I will pull the slide back and lock it up just like that. Now I know this firearm has been fully unloaded. It's always good practice to check, know how to check if a gun is loaded or not. Always, always very helpful, because anytime a gun is put down, placed down for a bit, comes back, or it changes hands via human interaction, that's where problems typically happen. So understanding just how to check if the gun is loaded or not is a huge help in your awareness and being able to be safe. Last method, and this is the method that I use to load the gun. If the slide is closed like this, again, we insert the mag firmly. I personally like to come over and I like to pinch so that we have front serrations on the gun here. I like to pinch towards the front here, right? Hold firmly here, pull back and release. The reason why we do this is because this is a little bit closer to how I might re-grip my gun when I'm shooting. It's a little bit more efficient. Not always the best for everybody with every gun, so this you have to play with and try, see if it's something comfortable. If not really a big deal if you have to either use the 4-finger method, right? The 4-finger method over the top, or you can even use, if you have an optic, you could swipe it like a karate chop, kind of like that. Okay, so for that one, it would be pull, just hit the front of the optic, pull and release. This Vortex Defender XL actually has some serrations on there for that specific purpose. Okay, so again, we're loaded. How do we know? We pull the slide back and we can see in here. All done. Hey, I want to unload this gun again. Okay, what do? Fuel comes out first, round comes out of the chamber. Okay, make sure that it's unloaded, meaning we visually look inside, stick a finger in here or look inside. Okay, and we could lock the slide back if we choose to make sure everything's safe and clear. So guys, that is loading and unloading a gun for if you're a brand new shooter and this is the first time you're getting exposed to me. A lot of information on this channel. Please feel free to take a look at it, share it with others. And if I can help you in any way on your journey, please reach out to me and let me know. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have the best day.